Alright guys, welcome back. This is part 4 of my top 100 favorite movies of all time. So where we left off at number 68, which was Replicant. Let's continue on from there. Number 67, Domestic Disturbance. I think one of the most underrated thrillers. Directed by Harold Becker, who did Mercury Rising with Bruce Willis, did this film, where you basically have John Travolta as a guy who is divorced from his wife, played by Terry Polo, who was in the Meet the Parents movies as Ben Stiller's wife. She's been a few other things too, and she ends up marrying Vince Vaughn, who is the new husband, and basically Vince Vaughn becomes the stepfather to John Travolta's son, who is Matt O'Leary, who went on to be in the Spy Kids films. I think this was not a little bit before he did the Spy Kids 2 he first appeared in. It was a little bit before he did that, because I think this was 2001. Yeah, 2001. But basically the idea is that John Travolta is a guy who's divorced from Terry Polo. Terry Polo ends up marrying Vince Vaughn and basically becomes a stepdad to John Travolta's son. But the son realizes, like, the stepfather, like, Vince Vaughn is really into some dirty work, and he killed somebody. He witnesses him kill somebody, and he tries to tell everybody, but no one believes him but his dad. And basically, John Travolta has to find a way to save his son from danger. And I like this thriller a lot. John Travolta does a great job as the father. Vince Vaughn, great villain. Really underrated movie, Domestic Disturbance. Let's see. Number 66. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Thanks to Rob, this was suggested to me by Rob, Movie Review Time. And I love this film a lot. Where you have Annabella Sciorra, who's looking for a babysitter. She hires Rebecca De Mornay. There's a whole lot more into the plot, which I'm not going to spoil, like what the motive is and things like that. But Rebecca De Mornay is trying to tear the family apart, trying to make it her own family. And you also have people like Julianne Moore, who has one of her early films, Julianne Moore. You also have Ernie Hudson as a handyman who works for the family, who's kind of a I don't know, like he's kind of like he's got like a disability. But Ernie Hudson is easily one of the best characters in the movie. He's just a really likable guy. You feel sorry for him, especially when you see what happens to him in the movie. Like, you feel sorry for him, and you root for Ernie Hudson, especially in the ending. But I'm not going to get into all the details. But The Hand That Rocks the Cradle is a great thriller. Fantastic film. Love The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Let's see. Number 65. My apologies. It's hot in this room. It is so humid out right now. That's why I have the fan on. But Resurrection. Easily one of the more underrated, like, serial killer type movies, where you have these two cops. One of them is Christopher Lambert from Fortress. They're trying to track down this killer who's killing people because he wants to rebuild the body of Jesus. Kind of a weird, messed up plot, but it's an interesting idea, and Christopher Lambert does a great job, as does Leland Orser. Directed by Russell Mulcahy, who I think did Highlander, did this film. Robert Joy, is that who I'm thinking of? Is that... He was one of the mutants in the Hills Have Eyes remake. I think that's who I'm thinking of, Robert Joy. I think he was also, forget his character name, but I know he was in Land of the Dead as well. That's who I'm thinking of, Robert Joy. I'm pretty sure that's him though. But Resurrection, underrated thriller. let's see. Number 64. Stir of Echoes. Easily one of my favorite Kevin Bacon films. A creepy idea where basically the guy is seeing ghosts, kind of like a Sixth Sense kind of like movie, but an R-rated version of the Sixth Sense. I think this film just flew under the radar because basically it came out around the same time or the same year as the Sixth Sense did, and the Sixth Sense kind of became much more of a phenomenon. But I love Stir of Echoes. It's underrated. I love Stir of Echoes. Creepy. Love Kevin Bacon in the film. Catherine Erb, who was in D2 The Mighty Ducks, and What About Bob is in here. Directed by David Koepp, or Koepp, however you say his name. But he was mainly a writer for a lot of movies. He wrote like Panic Room, and he did a lot of other stuff. He's directed a couple of other films too. I think this is probably my favorite. I'm sure he's directed a few other things, but easily one of the best things that he's done as a director. Love Stir of Echoes. Number 63 is without a doubt my favorite sports movie. Any Given Sunday. Easily in my top 100 favorite movies. It's my favorite sports movie. And the cast, I mean, look at this cast. Al Pacino, Dennis Quaid, Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz, James Woods, LL Cool J, Matthew Modine, Charlton Heston, Anne Margaret, Aaron Eckhart, John C. McGinley, Jim Brown. Just a fantastic cast. Directed by Oliver Stone, who did JFK, Platoon, Natural Born Killers, The Doors, a lot of other movies as well. I think this is probably this is without doubt my favorite sports film. I love Any Given Sunday. Just this cast alone is what makes this film work really, really well. Any Given Sunday, love it. Number 62, I also have, but it was kind of a pain once again to get out, but I'll mention it. Number 62 is Lock Up with Stallone. Easily one of Stallone's most underrated movies, where it's a prison movie. Donald Sutherland is your villain. Also directed by, like I mentioned, John Flynn, who did Out for Justice, did this film as well. But easily one of Stallone's best movies, in my opinion. I love Lock Up. Number 61, Major League. Easily my favorite baseball movie. Like, Any Given Sunday is my favorite football movie. This is my favorite baseball movie. Just a really fun comedy, R-rated. Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Corbin Burnson, the dentist himself, Corbin Burnson. You also have Rene Russo, Wesley Snipes. Written and directed by David Ward, who I don't know what this guy has directed besides this. I don't know for sure what else he's directed, but easily the best of the Major League films. The sequels are PG and they suck, but the first one's the best one. R-rated, really funny, but I love this film. Easily my favorite baseball film. Like if I have to go through like all the different sports, Any Given for my favorite sports films. For football, Any Given Sunday. Baseball, it'd be Major League. Basketball, probably White Man Can't Jump. Hockey, probably Miracle with Kurt Russell. So there you go. But love Major League. Number 60, Cliffhanger. Easily one of Stallone's best movies, where it's Die Hard on a mountain. John Lithgow is your villain. Michael Rooker is also in here as one of Stallone's buddies. You have Leon, Paul Winfield, directed by Rennie Harlin, who did The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Die Hard 2, a lot of other films. I'm not thinking of at the moment, Rennie Harlin, but easily one of Rennie Harlin's best movies. Love Cliffhanger. And the last one here for part 4, I'm going to show that I'll cover part 5. But number 59, the Terminator, the first Terminator. What more can I say? But so I'm going to cut here for part 4, and I'll see you guys in part 5.